Hello everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my great short stories series. Today we're going to be working on part 2 of our short story from Tuesday, which is Roald Dahl's The Landlady. The second part in our classic, macabre, and humorous story by author Roald Dahl. If you weren't in Tuesday's class, don't worry, we'll bring you up to date, and there's plenty to read and plenty to do. We're going to work on a bit of vocabulary as well. So that's a little bit about the class. Here's a little bit about me. I'm Jon-Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means please turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. Tune in to the new words and expressions you're learning. When you are speaking, use them as actively as you can so that I can correct you. Finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And that is a little bit about me. I want to know a little bit about you, so let me say hello to all of you. Hello, all of you. How are you?
Hello, teacher.
Morning. I'll share my screen with you so we can take a look at where we left off. Oh, and I'll give you this as well, in case you don't have it open. There you are. Just copy the link address. Okay, so you've got that as well. When you get the document open, you will see this graphic so that you know you're in the right place. So, in the last class, we read basically half of the story. If you scroll down here, I've added questions from part 1. So I think it might be a good idea to do 2 things. First, look at some of the comprehension questions from part 1, which will be a good review of the story if you haven't read it. I mean, a good introduction to the story. And I'd like to go back and talk about some of the vocabulary as well. So I'm going to scroll down here to page, where is it? Page 7, it looks like. I'm going to start there. And while we're waiting for some other people to join us too, I'm going to go over some of the vocabulary. So, give me just a second here. I guess I'll do a little bit of both. So let me ask you, class, in question 1, it says, what was Billy doing in Bath? So remember, we have Billy, and we have another character, the landlady, that we've met. Later on, there'll be a few others, perhaps, but basically those are our 2 characters. What was Billy doing in Bath, arriving for the first time in Bath one cold evening? Can you remember from part 1?
Yes.
Yes.
Go for it. What was he doing?
First time.
He.
Oh, one at a time.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Daniel, please.
He was for work. He was sent by his boss from London.
Okay, he was sent by his boss from London. Do we have any more details besides that?
He wore a nice suit. He looked a businessman, but he was a young man. He pretended to be a businessman, but I think it's not too businessman.
Not what?
Not that businessman. No.
Not, you mean not
I think
really a businessman? Is that it?
he pretend to look a businessman,
Mm-hmm.
but only he was 17 years old.
Right. He was pretty young. What
I
do you
think
think?
he is
Go ahead, Yuki.
really a businessman.
Yeah, I
Only
agree.
he is still young. He is only 70 years old. He his company's boss asked him to go to Bath to do business. Uh, so
So he is a real businessman.
yes,
It's true.
I'm sorry. It first I thought that he just pretended. So maybe Daniel, I'm sorry. It is first my view, but it was I made a mistake. So now we know that he is really business person.
And he is, we get the sense that he is pretending something because there's that paragraph about brusque or brisk. What was it? Briskly. So if you think back to that paragraph, go ahead, Adi. What were you going to say? Oh, it's not. You're just commenting on the first question. Is that
Yeah.
it? Okay. Well, if you remember that paragraph about brisk, we can go back to it if you like. He is kind of pretending something. What are his feelings about real business people?
I think it was first big commitment for him
Mm-hmm.
from his boss. So he feel proud of his business trip. He is proud of being asked to go on business trip. So that's why he walked briskly down the street.
There's a little more to it, though. Remember, he's
No?
talking about real business people and how they
Ah,
behave.
yes, hmm, he, he was, yes, now he feel as if he became a real cool business person.
Right. So he's trying to remember what real business people act like, and they act very brisk, running around, looking very busy. So he decided he would also run around and look very busy, or at least he's thinking about that. What did the porter ask at the railway station? No one's going to remember this.
Uh,
Well, I'm sorry, what did he ask the porter at the railway
he,
station?
Bill
Yeah.
asked in the station, is there a hotel
Ooh,
I can
yeah.
I can stay the night?
Accommodation.
Accommodation. Okay.
Accommodation. Mm.
Oh, okay. Very good. I didn't think you'd remember. What attracted Billy to look in the window of the house along the street? He was going to go to the nice hotel, but he saw something that caught his eye.
He watched a notice in on a window offering bed and breakfast.
Offering bed and breakfast. And
Mm.
how was it a little bit unusual? Or was it a
Uh,
little bit unusual?
mm, it's he couldn't see through the windows anyone in
But what
the
about
house.
the notice itself? Was the notice a little unusual in any way?
Can't remember.
The appearance of this building attracted Bill because there is a quite neat appearance. Uh, and this house has a neat appearance with green curtains, chrysanthemums, yes,
There's flowers, right?
flowers, and pet animals.
Okay, yeah,
No,
that's true. He saw the little dog, right? That's
Dachshund.
true.
I'm
The
sorry,
the dachshund. Yeah,
Yes,
that's true.
he saw the duck's food is kept in the house. Mm,
But I wonder if the appearance was neat. Here's the paragraph you're talking about. He's trying to find the Bell and Dragon, some kind of inn, but he stops here because he was going to go to a pub and stay in a pub.
mhm.
But here, green curtains were hanging down. The chrysanthemums looked wonderful. He went right up and peered. So I see what you're saying, but is it that it's neat? Because neat sounds like very orderly.
Ah,
I don't know if it's because it's neat. Maybe I would use a different word.
mm, it seemed to him that this house sounds looks mm, beautiful.
Oh, I,
Looks
I think it's sort of homey,
comfortable.
comfortable. Yeah,
Mm.
I think it's homey, like how you feel comfortable, how you feel at home. So I think it attracts him because, oh, if you go to a pub, it's going to be sort of impersonal and maybe expensive, and this looks sort of comfortable and homey. Homey is a place that feels like home. Homey. Um, so rather than neat. It's not orderly. It's got little dogs. It's got a hearth. Remember the hearth?
Yes.
Adi, remember the hearth? That was your word. Do you remember
Hearts
that
is
one?
a fire. Yes, I remember that one. The fireplace.
Right, right. It's got a fireplace, so it seems very comfortable. Okay. Um, oh, I'm missing a word in part four. What made him ring the doorbell of the? I think. Well, forget about the of the. What made him ring the doorbell? I'll put it like that. Was there anything specific? Maybe this one is a little bit difficult.
Mm, door. In this house, there is a door. On the door, there is a paper. No, this is a sign.
Yeah.
She saw the sign on the door. She saw the sign on the door that is which is written that which said that you can stay here. Uh, how to say?
Here's the sign. You can see it
Uh,
here.
yes, red bed and breakfast. Bed, yes.
Right. 3 times. Bed and breakfast. Bed and breakfast. Bed and breakfast. Each word was like a large black eye staring at him, holding him, compelling him, forcing him to stay where he was and not walk away. The next thing he knew, he was moving across the street, blah 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 blah, reaching for the bell.
So
So,
he
yeah,
is obsessed by the word by the by the message.
maybe these are two things that he really needs: bed and breakfast.
Yes.
Hard to say. And also 3 times. You know, it's sort of like maybe it's I don't know why 3 times, but it seems like uh, you know it's repetitive. I don't know. Maybe it hypnotizes him. Hard to say. Anyway, it makes him ring the doorbell. Why was the owner? Why was the owner of the house expecting him? Or why do we think she was expecting him? Uh,
Because why? Because when the owner of this house saw him standing outside of the door, she thought that he's a good boy. He's suitable for he's a
Well, we don't
he's
know. We don't know what she thinks yet, but what does she do? I mean, we don't really know what's going on in her head. But what action does she do, which makes us think that she was expecting him? What happens after he rings the bell? By the way, I know Adi and Daniel, both of you were here.
Soon after, it's a very soon. It takes it took no time
For her to do what?
for her to open the door. So as soon as he ring the door, as soon as he ringed.
Well, it's the past. As soon as he rang.
As soon as he rang, door opened.
Right. As soon as he rang, the door opened, as if she was expecting him. All right. Khalid, were you in the class on Tuesday? I don't remember if you were reading with us.
Just today, because I lost the past class. That's why.
Okay. I can't remember if you were here.
I'm trying to hear a lot of information to be. I mean.
To get caught up.
To cover the story. Yes.
Caught up. Okay, very good. And Adi, you were here on Tuesday, right?
Yes, teacher.
So say something. Why are you so quiet?
Okay, because I don't want to interrupt.
Don't want to interrupt? What are you talking about? This is for, I'm talking to all of you. Adi, this one's for you. This one's for you. What was strange? Oh, we didn't get to the guest book, did we? Oh, forget number 6. We didn't get there yet. No, we can go skip to number 8. That one we can ask, I think. Number 8. How did the landlady treat Billy? Okay, we just met her, but Adi, what's your impression for number 8? What's the landlady like? How does she treat him?
It's the landlord is very nice to Billy, and because
very sorry, I couldn't hear.
Very nice.
Nice, okay.
Very nice.
To
Billy.
Too nice, maybe?
Yeah, too nice. I think it's not good because it makes Billy thinks that she was very crazy.
Exactly.
Crazy.
She's a little bit crazy. Yeah. Okay.
Just a little bit.
I think the other questions. I'm not going to get to the other questions because they're a little bit more forward in the story. But I do want to ask you one more thing. I want to ask you about some of the vocabulary that you learned in the last class as well. So I'm going to give you a word. You tell me, you can remember what it is or how it was used in the story. There's your first word in the chat window. Daniel, can you read that word for us?
Dither.
Yeah. Can you remember how it was used or what it means?
In context, maybe.
Yeah. In the context of the story? Yeah.
Now, if I see him in the contest, if I saw it in the contest, I could know it.
Okay, so look at this. I'm going to hit Control F on the document. I'm going to write dither, and I go up to page 4, and there I've got my context.
It's the same as hesitate.
Okay. Yeah. Shivering.
Say again, Daniel, I didn't hear.
Shivering. Nervous.
A little nervous.
A little nervous.
And Yuki, what did you say before?
I said I think it's the same meaning as hesitate.
Hesitate. Yeah.
Hesitate.
So one reason you might hesitate is because you're acting a little nervous or indecisive, or you can't quite decide what to do. So hesitate is the real meaning, yes, right? But you could hesitate for various reasons. So he could be he seems very young and doesn't really know what to do with himself. So he's dithering about. He can't really decide to go in or not. All right, that was a good word, dithering. Here's one. See if you can remember this one.
Toti. Mad.
Ari.
Sorry,
Mad.
sorry, sorry, sorry. Sorry.
Mad meaning crazy. Not mad meaning angry, right?
Yeah, yeah, crazy. Fool.
Okay. Here's one which we already talked about, but I'll put it there anyway.
For everybody?
I'm talking to the whole class, yeah.
Okay. The fireplace.
The fireplace. Big fireplace.
The fireplace. The round. When I looking for it, I read the round, the floor of the fireplace.
The floor. It's a fireplace that's so big you can walk into it. It's one of those huge fireplaces.
Oh, okay.
Look at this. A bit of all right. This is very colloquial. This is like British English sort of colloquial sounding. So I'm going to show you where it is in the text. There it is. And maybe we'll see if we can figure out what that means. Because all right means okay. But look at it in the context. The room was wonderfully warm and cozy. I'm a lucky fellow, he thought. A bit all right. Actually, I realize now that we didn't get to this part of the story. So never mind, because you didn't read it yet. Never mind. Sorry, that's later on. But this one we did. Okay, forget about a bit all right. Let me go to it. The one we did read. Sorry, blotchy. Blotchy here. But even now in the darkness. Oh, let me put it in the chat window too. Blotchy.
Abandoning.
Even now in the darkness. Not abandoned. It's more specific. He could see that the paint was peeling. The facades were cracked and blotchy from neglect. Cracked and blotchy.
It means that there's a dark color, means like old building.
Yeah, old building, and specifically
Dark.
the color. It's not just that it's dark; it's that it's the paint
Dotted.
is, yeah, like dotted in the sense that the paint is
Stain.
coming. Well, it could be stained, blotchy from being stained with a pattern because from the stain, or it could be that the paint is coming off, and that leaves these blotches where there's no paint. So it,
Sorry, teacher. We can say for the some man is he's blotchy or with some spots or something like that.
I didn't catch the first part. Say it again. The first part.
I mean, blotchy is even some people. I mean, some man or some
Someone?
human, someone, yes, someone with some spots or in
You
his face,
on your skin.
in his skin, yes. We
Yeah.
can say that, yeah.
Yeah. You could have blotchy skin as well,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that you've got sort of, something like freckles, but bigger. Freckles are little dots, and you can have sort of blotchy skin, meaning that you've got sort of dark patches or something like that.
Okay.
Blotchy skin. It doesn't sound very good to have blotchy skin, by the way. You probably don't want that. All right. Here's a word that we got confused last time. So I'm going to put it back in the chat window for you. Can you see that one?
Kippers.
Kippers.
Kippers is a herring. Yeah. It's a
Herring.
fish.
Yeah,
Mm. I
exactly.
know.
Kippers. So he was thinking of, he was afraid of water captacious landladies and the powerful smell of kippers. That's what he's afraid he's going to find. Was there anything else? I think that's about it. There's a lot of other vocabulary, but I don't think we've actually come across it yet. So, okay. Anyway, so there you go. that's a little review of part 1, and we're going to move on to part 2 right now. So, who's starting us off? You are, Daniel? Okay, great.
I see Daniel. Daniel hands. Daniel raised his hand.
I saw that too. Okay. Maybe there's a lot of dialogue, so maybe you can do this section, and I'll just go around the room in the order that I see you. So go for it, Daniel.
Okay.
What happens then? Oh, I'm sorry, last thing. Where did we leave off? He rang the doorbell, he came in, he sees the landlady. As Adi said, she's nice, maybe too nice. And remember the last thing that happened before we left? I hope I got to the right part. If we just look at this last part.
Okay.
So he thinks to himself, oh, she's slightly dotty because, she's being nice, but there's like no one in the guest book, no one in the hotel or whatever this is. I'm always ready day and night. So she talks about how she's ready for people, but there's no one there. And she keeps calling him dear and looking at him. I don't know if we read this part. Wait, let me just read this just to remind you, and then Daniel will pick it up from the next part. But I'm always ready, the landlady says. Everything is always ready every day and night in this house, just on the off chance that an acceptable young gentleman will come along. And it is a pleasure, my dear, such a very great pleasure, when now and again I open the door and I see someone standing there who is just exactly right. She was halfway up the stairs, and she paused with one hand on the stair rail, turning her head and smiling down at him with pale lips. Like you, she added, and her blue eyes traveled slowly all the way down the length of Billy's body to his feet, and then up again. Yum,
Yum.
she's probably saying. Okay, go for it, Daniel.
On the second floor landing, she said to him, "This floor is mine." They climbed up another flight. "And this one is all yours," she said. "Here's your room. I do hope you like it." She took him into a small but charming front bedroom, switching on the light, and she went in. "The morning sun comes right in the window, Mr. Perkins." "It is Mr. Perkins, isn't it?" "No," he said, "it's Weber."
Weaver.
Weaver. "Mr. Weaver, how nice." I put a water bottle between the seats to air them out. "Mr. Weaver, it's such a comfort to have a hot water bottle in a strange bed with clean seats. Don't you agree? And you may light the gas fire at any time if you feel chilly." "Thank you," Billy said. "Thank you ever so much." He noticed that the bedspread had been taken off the bed, and that the bedclothes had been neatly turned back on one side, all ready for someone to get in.
We have the expression, make your bed and lie in it. Make your bed and lie in it. Do you know that expression?
No.
If you do that, you'll make your bed and get to lie in it too. Lie down. In other words, you're going to set yourself up for something, whether you like it or not. If you don't study in school, you're going to make your bed and get to lie in it. You won't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe Billy is making his bed and lying in it. Anyway, the bed looks all ready for him. And what's a hot water bottle? Is that clear?
Yes. Because of the cold,
Right.
I used to use it in my grandmother's house.
Me too.
Long
My
times ago.
My grandmother had a big red hot water bottle,
Yeah.
which is it's like made out of rubber or something like that, and you get to curl up with it. and it's warm. Well, since I was
For stomach ache, it's useful too.
there you go. I have not seen a hot water bottle since 1982, but I'm sure they still exist.
Yes.
They're not actually bottles. They're kind of like big rubber pillows that you put boiling water in, and then it heats up the bed. All right. So, Khalid, you're going to take down to the bottom of the page and a little bit on the next page, too. Go for it, Khalid.
I'm so glad you appreciate. She said, looking.
I'm so glad you appeared. Appeared.
Okay, sorry, because maybe I will use the because it's not clear, but okay.
You want to open the link and read?
Yes, that's why I'm already opened the link. Just
okay. I'll see if I can make it a little bigger as well.
I'm so glad you appeared, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so glad you appeared. She said, looking earnestly into
earnestly
into his face. I was beginning to get worried. That's all right, Billy answered brightly. You mustn't worry about me. He put his suitcase on the chair and started to open it. And what about supper? My dear, did you manage to get anything to eat before you came here? I'm not a bit hungry, thank you, he said. I think I will just go to bed as soon as possible because tomorrow I have got to get up rather early and report to the office.
Be careful though with the pronunciation, not early, but early.
Early.
That's it.
Early. Okay. Very well then. I will leave you now so that you can unpack, but before you go to bed, you would be kind enough to pop into the sitting room on the ground floor and sign the book. Everyone has to do that because it is the law of the land. And we don't want to go breaking any laws, and this is this stage in the proceedings we. She gave him a little wave of the hand and went quickly out of the room and closed the door.
Does this remind you of any character from Harry Potter? This reminds me of what's her name? This reminds me of I don't remember. I never read the books, but I saw the movies. She reminds me of the woman who was dressed in pink, and I think it was the second movie. The one who takes over the academy when the wizard is he disappears or something like that. I forgot the name.
Dolores.
Dolores, yeah, it reminds me of her. Because as you read,
Creepy woman.
read the book, yes, and see the film.
Because you can hear her voice if you read that dialogue. It sounds like her, you know. And we don't want to go breaking any laws at this stage in the proceeding, do we?
Yes.
Hang on just 1 second because sorry, I have an important call. I have to tell them to go away. Give me just a second. I'll be right back. 1 second.
Okay.
I'm in church.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Go ahead, Daniel, teacher.
Okay. Español, clase
Español. Why? Daniel.
¿Cómo estás, señor?
Why
Es
Spanish
la
class?
segunda lengua más hablada en el mundo. Second
Hola.
language
Aprendo español, Sten.
Es muy
I
útil
don't,
para pedir tapas en España.
I don't know. That's real beginner to speak Spanish.
¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, gracias. ¿Y usted? ¿Qué tal está?
Muy bien.
Daniel, is your language similar to Italy? Not similar,
Okay, sorry about the interruption.
huh?
That's okay. Now,
Sorry about that.
They know took a charge. Take a charge.
What's happening? We changed language?
Daniel
Yes.
teach us Spanish, yeah.
Spanish.
Spanish teacher.
instead
Hola, Daniel.
you,
¿Qué tal?
Muy bien.
Daniel became our teacher.
Excellent. Yeah, Daniel, why don't you just teach Spanish? Let's all go. Oh, actually, we got too many Spanish teachers. No.
Yeah.
We need to learn. We need to learn a little bit of Japanese,
Yeah.
a little bit of whatever
Arabic.
language.
Arabic,
Oh,
I can. I
We
can
got
teach you
two
Arabic.
kinds of Arabics.
now we
We
are here in multi-language.
can hear Shadow Arabic and we can hear Khalid Arabic. We can hear two kinds of Arabic. That'd be excellent. We can compare them.
Turkish.
Little Turkish. Yeah, you do that.
Just we confusing. We are now in, but as if we are now
Babel
in
Tower.
Bubble Tower. Yes.
Exactly. And Adi, what do you speak? Indonesian? I can't remember. I've completely
Yes,
forgotten. Yeah.
I speak Indonesian specific language, Indonesian.
And tell us, what do we need to know in Indonesian? How do we say, "Hey there"?
Hello. Just say that.
You say hello. Wait, let me see if I understand this.
Really? It's
To
the
say
same.
Hello.
To say
Apa
hello in
kabar?
Indonesian, you say hello. Ah, okay.
Hello.
How do you
Apa kabar?
It's
Abaka?
completely same.
Apa kabar?
Abakara?
Abakara.
Yeah, apa kabar?
Abakaba?
Apa kabar is mean ketal in Spanish.
¿Qué tal?
Means ketal. Abakaba.
Apa kabar? How you doing?
Abakaba.
Yes.
Abakaba. I'm gonna name my first child Abakaba. I like the sound. Abakaba. Very good.
Who are you?
Okay. Back to the story. Okay. So, Adi, why don't you continue? We left off with Dolores. Well, she's not really Dolores.
Yes.
And you'll notice that expression, it's a bit of all right. So don't forget about that, because that's an important expression from earlier. Go for it, Adi.
I will try. Now, the fact that his lantern appeared to be slightly off her rocker didn't worry Billy in the least. After all, she not only was harmless, there was no question about that. She was also quite obviously a kind and generous soul. He guessed that she had probably lost a son in the war or something like that, and had never gotten over it. So a few minutes later, after unpacking his suitcase and washing his hands, Trot trotted, trotted downstairs to the ground.
Trotted like a horse.
Trotted.
Yeah.
Okay. He trotted downstairs to the ground floor and entered the living room. His landlady wasn't there, but the fire was glowing in the hearth, and the little dog was still sleeping soundly in front of it. The room was wonderfully warm and cozy. I'm a lucky fellow, he thought, rubbing his hands. This a bit all it this is a bit of all right. He found the guest book lying open on the piano. He took out his pen and wrote down his name and address. There were only two other entries above his on the page, and as one always does with guest book, he started to read them. One was a Christopher Mulholland from Cardiff. How do I say?
Mulholland.
Mulholland.
Like the
Christopher
movie
Mulholland.
Mulholland Drive. Don't forget that David Lynch movie, Mulholland Drive. If you remember the movie.
One was a Christopher Mulholland from Cardiff. The other was W. Temple, Bristol.
Not
I'm very
Georgie.
lucky.
Not Georgie. Not Georgie.
Georgie.
Gregory.
Gregory. W. Temple. Okay. I'm
So,
happy not find Miss Dolores saying.
well, let me just jump back for a second. That line that you read earlier, this is a bit of all right. What do you think he means by that?
Yes.
Because it's kind of like a colloquial expression. This is a bit of all
Yeah.
right. How does he feel?
Yeah. Uh, Seems feel quite okay because he doesn't pay uh, a lot for this, so it is alright for this place.
Yeah, yeah. And also it probably has the idea that first that it's comfortable and that we might say that if something is kind of quaint and old-fashioned too. Quaint.
Quaint,
Quaint means not modern. Something,
quirky,
well,
quaint.
not so much quirky, but
Mhm.
old, but in a way that's familiar and comfortable. So it's a bit of all right. Daniel,
Okay.
what are you saying?
I was look for the idiom, and he
Oh, a
said,
bit of all right. Okay, yeah, but he's not talking about a woman.
okay.
He's not talking about the landlady. Hey,
Okay.
the landlady's a bit of all right. You know, she's 50 and I'm 17.
Dolores.
Yeah, yeah, she's all right. No, he's talking about the room.
Okay.
So yes, the context is very important here. But yes, if it was British English, he might be saying, "Oi, look at that bird over there. She's a bit of all right." That was my impression of Russell Brand, everyone. I didn't say it was a good impression, but it's my impression. Let's see, where are we? Yuki,
Yes.
let's find out about the guests.
Okay. That's funny. He thought suddenly. Christopher Mulholland.
Mulholland Drive from David Lynch. Mulholland. Remember that movie?
Yes, no, I haven't seen this movie.
Oh, it's a
Although
classic.
I'm a big fan of his film.
Mulholland. Christopher Mulholland.
Christopher.
Mulholland.
New film of David
No,
Lynch?
no, it's
No?
10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Ah,
Anyway, the pronunciation is Mulholland.
Mulholland. Christopher Mulholland. It rings a bell. Now where on earth had he heard that rather unusual name before? Was it a boy at school? No. Was it one of his sister's numerous young men, perhaps, or a friend of his father's? No, it wasn't any of those. He glanced down again at the book. Christopher Mulholland.
Mulholland. Mulholland.
Mulholland.
Good.
231.
231. It's an address, so 231. Like that.
231 Cathedral Road, Cardiff. George T. Temple.
Wait. Gregory.
Sorry. Gregory W. Temple. 27 Sycamore Drive, Bristol.
By the way, a sycamore is that kind of tree where the bark peels off. Okay.
It looks like a plain tree. Yeah. No?
It kind of looks like multicolored because the bark will come off, and in fact, it looks very blotchy. Speaking about the word blotchy, so a sycamore tree, they're really nice actually. They're all over Europe and in America too, but the bark comes off in little blotches, so it creates this multicolored looking sort of pattern. Anyway, that's irrelevant. It's just the name of the street, but that's what a sycamore is. It's a kind of a tree. And now you
Cycle.
know. Okay, keep going. 'Cause we
Okay.
got, these are
As a
short.
matter of fact, now he came of think of it. He wasn't at all sure that the second name didn't have almost as much of a familiar ring about it as the first. George Temple, he said.
Gregory.
I'm sorry, Gregory Temple, he said aloud, so, searching his memory. Christopher, every time Malfoland,
Yes.
Malfoland. Such a charming voice, a voice behind him answered, and he turned saw him landladies sailing into the room with a large silver tea tray, large silver tea tray in her hands. She was holding it well and well out in front of her, and rather high up, as though the tray was a pair of reins on the Frisky house.
What do you think is the image we should see? A pair of reins on a frisky horse. As if she's holding what in her hands?
She hold the tray very
Yeah.
closely, very tightly.
Tightly. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And if you ever see, someone who knows how to ride a horse, if you see an equestrian, they have this, like in a competition, they have this kind of pose. So everything about her seems kind of artificial.
As if
She's holding,
she tightened the reins of
yeah,
course. Yeah.
the reins. Those are the little ropes that connect to the bridle, which is around the face of the horse to control the horse, to steer it.
Yes.
So the T is like a frisky horse, and she's holding it in this exaggerated pose. Well, Shadow, I don't know if you were in the first class. Hopefully you caught the beginning where we did a little review. By the way, ask me questions if you're not sure what's going on. But can you take the next section for us?
Yes, sir.
Go for it.
They sound somehow familiar, he said. They do. How interesting. I'm almost positive I've heard those names before somewhere. Isn't that odd? Maybe it was in the newspapers. They weren't famous in any way, were they? I mean, famous
Cricketers.
cricketers or footballers or something like that. Famous, she said, sitting the tea tray down on the low table in front of the sofa. Oh no, I don't think they were famous, but they were incredibly handsome, both of them.
They
I
weren't famous,
can,
but they were handsome.
I can promise you that. They were tall and young and handsome, my dear, just exactly like you. Once more Billy glanced down at the book. Look here, he said, noticing the date. This last entry is over 2 years old. It is. Yes, indeed. And Christopher Mulholland is nearly a year before that. More than 3 years ago. Dear me, she said, shaking her head and heaving a dainty little sigh. I would never have thought it.
A dainty little sigh. Do you know what that is? A sigh?
I don't know.
So listen, you have to listen to her voice, just like Dolores in Harry Potter. It is? Yes, indeed, and Christopher Mulholland's nearly a year before that. Oh, dear me, she said, shaking her head and heaving a little sigh. I would never have thought of it. A little sigh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, are you suspicious about anything? I mean, do you think Billy should be suspicious at this point?
No.
No? Okay, good. I guess you trust people, which is good. I don't know if we should trust her. Let's find out. What happened to where did Ishmael go? Ishmael? Is Ishmael hiding? He was just here. All right, we're back to the beginning. So I think we're back to Daniel.
How time does fly away from us all, doesn't it, Mr. Wilkins? It's Weaver, Billy said. W-E-A-V-E-R. Oh, of course it is, she cried, sitting down on the sofa. How silly of me! I do apologize. In one ear and out the other. That's me, Mr. Weaver. You know something? Billy said. Something that's really quite extraordinary about all this? No, dear, I don't. Well, you see, both of these names, Mulholland and Temple, I not only seem to remember each one of them separately, so to speak, but somehow or other, in some peculiar way, they both appear to be sort of connected together as well, as though they were both famous for the same sort of things, if you see what I mean. Like, well, like Dempsey and Tunney, for example, or Churchill and Roosevelt. How amusing, she said. But come over here now, dear, and sit down beside me on the sofa, and I'll give you a nice cup of tea and a ginger biscuit before you go to bed.
Doesn't that sound good? A nice cup of tea and a ginger biscuit. Sounds nice.
I know
um,
the end.
tell me something. Ginger biscuit. Does that remind you of a famous folk tale? The ginger biscuit? What
No,
famous
it
children's story has ginger in it? Adi?
no, it doesn't reminds me about that. It reminds me about British people do that.
That's
Lots.
true. A ginger biscuit. Um, what about um, what's the name of it? No, I'm forgetting. Um, never mind. I just forgot. I can't even remember the name of the story.
Weaver,
Um,
no?
no, I was going to say a famous folk tale, like a Grimm's fairy tale with ginger. Never mind. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it in a minute. Adi, you're up. Go for it,
Okay.
Adi.
Okay. Mm, you really shouldn't bother, Billy said. I didn't mean I didn't mean to I didn't mean you do
I didn't mean
I didn't,
you.
I didn't mean you to do anything like that. He stood by the piano, watching her as she fushed about with the cups
Fussed.
and saucers.
Fussed about.
Fush.
Fuss.
As she fushed about with the cups and saucers, he noticed that she had small, white, quickly moving hands and red fingernails. It almost positive it was in the newspaper I saw them, Willie said. I think uh, I think of it in a second. I'm sure I will. There is nothing more tantalizing than a scene like this that lingers just one side, the borders of one's memories. He hated to give up. Now, wait a minute, he said. Wait just a minute, Mulholland. Christopher Mulholland, was that the name of Eton schoolboy who was on a walking tour through the West Country, and then all of a sudden,
Milk, she said, and sugar. It happens all over the sudden. Milk and sugar? Yes,
milk and
please.
sugar?
And then all of a sudden, an Eton schoolboy. Do you know what Eton is? That's a very British thing. Do you know what Eton is? Does anyone know Eton?
It's a famous
No, no.
school
Yeah.
in Britain. Yeah, it's a very. It is. It
Who
is sort of.
goes? Who goes to Ethan?
Very good. The son of good family.
Exactly. Rich, elite people go to Eton, not just anybody. So this is the story of an Eton schoolboy who was on a walking tour, and all of a sudden, what happened to him? She changes the subject. Khalid, you're up on the next page.
Okay. Milk, she said, and sugar? Yes, please. And then all of a sudden, Ethan schoolboy, she said, "Oh no, my dear, that cannot be that cannot possibly be right, because my Mr. Mohalland was certainly not an Eton schoolboy. When he came to me, he was a Cambridge and undergraduate. Come over here now and sit next to me and warm yourself in front of this lovely fire. Come on your tea all ready for you." She patted the empty place. Patted the empty place beside her on the sofa, and she sat there smiling at Billy and waiting for him to come over. He crossed the room slowly and sat down on the edge of the sofa. She placed his teacup on the table in the front of him. There we are, she said. How nice and cozy this is, is it?
How nice and cozy. All right.
How
Well,
nice and cozy.
I think we're going to have to actually stop here. And I think what I'm going to do is have you read the rest on your own. And I'm going to, let's make this a part 3. You're going to read to the end on your own. And I actually have prepared a whole bunch of exercises for you to do, because we've got some great vocabulary, very good, idiomatic expressions. And I want you to look at some of the language that's used as well. So I'm going to put this at the end of the document and send it to you. You're going to look at how comparatives are done. If you want to do the homework, you can. You don't have to. So you're going to read to the end on your own. I've got a little exercise about comparisons and another one about all of those reflexive terms that are used, like sit yourself down. There was one in the very beginning. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, and also some of the vocabulary that might be new. Some of it we've already talked about. I'll send that to you when I'm done teaching today. And we're also going to be discussing the story after you've read it in the next class on Tuesday. I'll be back in just 30 seconds for the business class, so stick around for that. We'll be working on the grammar from New Business. Okay? Bye for now, everyone.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you for the class. Thank you for the good story.